Fuck. I knew that leaks one there,
Wait,
but not...
I have a question. So how long is this for?
What's your question?
How long are we doing this for?
7 o'clock, they're going to be putting on a bus taking them out.
Do you know what? I kind of want this on. I have a question. So how long is this for?
Okay, Lindsay from Freedom Media WA. So we did broadcast that we were going live from the Holiday Inn. We've just got into town, so it's been a bit of a scramble to come here to bring you this story right now. So right now we have Claire, who is up on it looks about the 6th or 7th floor. Claire has just flown out from England to be with and see her granddaughter, who's 3 years old, and due to the pandemic she hasn't been able to travel until now. So this story here, we were contacted by Claire's son Michael. Michael has just gone down the road to take care of another matter, to come back here. At 7 o'clock tonight, the border force are going to deport Claire because they're saying due to a technical issue that she hasn't complied with the entry requirements into Australia. I can tell you this, and we will get Claire on the phone in a moment as soon as Michael comes back. So Claire applied for a visa. The visa was granted for her to travel from the UK to here in Perth, Western Australia, so that she could spend time with her granddaughter. That is not an uncommon occurrence, people wanting to travel to be with family. Claire has a medical condition, which whatever the circumstances of that condition is, that is her personal reason. Yet she has declared that, and she has provided medical evidence that qualifies her for an exemption from UK doctors to travel to Australia without having to take the COVID vaccine. Now, just recently, the Department of Home Affairs changed the rules and regulations. In fact, yesterday, they changed the rules and regulations where you no longer need to take a COVID test or provide proof of vaccination to travel into Australia. The issue that we have here is Claire departed for Australia on the 17th, one day before the Department of Home Affairs changed the absurd rules, and we find ourselves in a circumstance where Claire, our 64-year-old grandmother, having travelled to come out to Perth, Western Australia to see her granddaughter and her son, is about to be put on a bus and deported back to the UK because Border Force have rejected her application, saying that she hasn't complied with the circumstances of the requirement to enter into Australia. There is a number of people here in the background, so Michael did an interview earlier. I'll probably just get Karen to do a quick turnaround to show if you're in this Perth area, if you're anywhere around here, we ask that you come down here now and offer support. We need people down here. The family is calling for people to come down and offer the support here, hoping that they will give at least Claire a little bit more time to sort this particular technical issue out. Claire has been seeking to see a medical doctor since she's been here, and she's up in the room. We'll just see if we can get a pan up in the room just up the top there. So we are at Holiday Inn in Perth. We're on Hay Street here. I think it's 1113 Hay Street. And Claire's been looking to see a doctor. I understand, and Michael will confirm this information a little bit shortly, that the doctor has said for right now, given she's just done the long haul flight from the UK to Perth, that she's actually not in a fit state to travel right now. So what the circumstances are in terms of the exemption, that is a discussion that Claire, she may share this with you, I'm not sure. We'll get her on the phone in a moment. But she has complied with everything she could have possibly done, except they changed the rules. She departed for Australia on the 17th. The rules changed yesterday. She left Sunday, rule change on Monday, which would not see her in this position. And as a result of that, that they're going to deport her in less than half an hour if something's not done. So I understand here that Alex Hawkins, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, has actually taken up this matter. We'll get confirmation from Michael in a moment. He's just had to duck off to deal with something else on this quite dynamic situation, that he finds his mother that he hasn't been able to see for some time. He can't even talk to her. He's got to yell from the ground up to the window because she's in hotel quarantine. So let's just look at the rule change for a moment, because the rule change is particularly interesting. As of yesterday, the Department of Home Affairs introduced the rules where you do not need to be tested to come out to Australia. If you're unvaccinated, you do need to be tested. So surely common sense would prevail here that a person who has undergone a COVID test, produced a negative result, provided medical information that provides that she is exempt from having the COVID vaccine, travel on a plane, that would be acceptable, that she's met and done due diligence to travel out here. Yet you can have people as of yesterday who are currently vaccinated, symptomatic, don't have to provide a negative test, and can jump on an aeroplane all the way from the UK out to Perth, and that doesn't raise the eyelids of Border Force at all. Absolutely absurd. Absolutely crazy in terms of the circumstances, the rules that have been put in place, simply because Claire finds herself, due to a personal circumstance and justifiable medical condition. So I see Michael's just come in the background here. Michael, we'll just get you to jump over. And so we just have got somebody monitoring the comments in the background there. If you can certainly, if you are in the Perth area, if you're able to come in. Michael, I've just explained the circumstance, the situation. So you contacted us a couple of hours ago. You've taken some time here. Your mum, you've only been able to communicate her up there. How do you feel? What's the circumstance at the moment? I know it's...
Yeah, I have moments when I'm doing all right, and then other moments where I start crying. So we'll see how the interview goes. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for coming down and covering this. The traction already from a few posts that's already gone out has been incredible. My objective of this is I'm reaching out to Alex Hawke. I need to get on the phone to Alex Hawke. I believe that people I'm speaking to, this man might be able to help me. In fact, I'm confident 100% that he will be able to help us and get my mum down here.
So we find, so at the moment we're not sure if he's actually still in Perth, but the Prime Minister Scott Morrison has been doing his election campaign here in Western Australia yesterday and today. So I mentioned that to you on the phone a little bit earlier, which you weren't aware of. But Prime Minister Scott Morrison has taken the position that he is not enforcing mandatory vaccination, and he's been calling for the borders to open up, yet your mum has found herself under a technical hiccup where she's now facing, 7 o'clock is what you've been told?
Yeah, they're adamant they're going to come and take her. I had her on loudspeaker while she was on the phone to the receptionist, and she was crying her eyes out saying, I'm not well enough to get on this flight. I don't feel great. It's very overwhelming. It's been very traumatic. I want someone to assess me. They're saying that WA Health is coming to pick her up to take her for the flight, but there's going to be no assessment. And then also the WA Health are passing the buck to say the ABF, Australian Border Force, they're actually now it's just this full loop, this full circle. No one's taking any responsibility or accountability, and unfortunately it just seems to be going bad to worse.
So now I understand your mum came in the early hours or late last night. She arrived in Western Australia.
So she actually landed at 5:30 p.m. last night. Me and my brother and our families and my 3-year-old granddaughter were stood waiting on arrivals. My daughter had a nice little sign saying, I can't wait to see you, Grandma. And we were there for hours, and no one would talk to us. They said it was a federal police matter, and then eventually after 7 hours someone spoke to us. From that we were then told that actually she's been held in a room where she'd been spoken to 3 times on record. They took her fingerprints, they took her possessions from her, and she's being absolutely treated like a criminal from getting off that flight. she's explained everything. She had all of the documents. She dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. She did everything she should have done. She planned all of this for us such a long time, and she had everything physically printed off as well to prove. She went through all of that, and what happened was, not only did she have all her exemptions accepted, her visa granted, they're good to go, the new digital pass that's come into play as well, everything was ticked off and more. And then all that's happened is she's being allowed to fly. She's been allowed to get on that flight with everything being granted, and then come here. Then they've changed their mind and said, well, actually, when you applied for your visa, things have changed. So unfortunately now we cannot warrant you coming in and walking into Perth, Western Australia. So then said, we're going to have to take you for deportation. And then eventually at 4 a.m. this morning, they brought her to this location here where she's been all day. So we've managed to look up there and see her a few times. I brought my granddaughter down, and she had a few waves and a few tears. So yeah, it's been a very emotional, full-on day, and just again, I'm pleading out to anybody in this last bit of time to help us. She doesn't get on the flight till 10:20 tonight, Emirates flight, and I believe that, you know, if all of us come together, I believe we're going to find one human being with one tiny bit of compassion, because that's all we need right now, is to understand what's happened, understand there's been a hiccup, see the situation, look at it for what it is, and just have one piece of compassion and allow my mum to come through and be with her family.
So, Michael, in talking to your mum, Claire, she is happy to undergo a RATS test or a PCR test, anything of that nature?
She is indeed. She actually done all the PCRs and all the testing she did before she left. She then lodged them to prove the outcome, which was all negative. So she's done everything that, plus everything else I had already mentioned. She in her head, she was going to do the 7 days. That's what we thought was happening. But then obviously they intervened and said, actually, no, you're not even going to do that. She's already in the location there. Led her there for 7 days, which is what she thought she was going to do anyway. She'll do the more testing if she wants to, if they need her to do more testing, whatever she needs to do to stay here, and then allow her to walk free. But you know, she's 64 years of age. She's not the best with flying anyway, and it's the thought of putting her on another long haul flight already after everything. She's had 3 hours sleep last night, she said, if she's lucky, and to put her back on this flight, she's crying to them saying, I do not want to get on this flight, I'm not well enough, I want to be assessed, and no one is listening to her.
So now I was lucky enough, I guess, in between scrambling to get into the city here, that I spoke to your brother Paul in the UK. We may even try and get Paul on the phone in a moment. But can we get Claire? Can we get your mum on the phone?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Erin, can I just grab that phone back?
In the meantime, if you're at home and you're watching this live stream, I need you to do 2 things. Number 1, please share this stream, because the more people that get this stream out, the more that it will go out there about this particular issue. Number 2, jump on the telephone, ring Holiday Inn. Ring the Holiday Inn and ask them to speak to somebody in charge. Ask to speak to at the desk here that exercise compassion, and if nothing else, ask that Claire be given the time to be assessed by a doctor to see if she's fit to travel out tonight at 7 o'clock, given she's just come out. Jump on the phone, start ringing the Holiday Inn, put the pressure on there. Somebody inside here will be able to get through to somebody that can actually at least press pause. That's all Michael's asking for. That's all Claire's asking for, is pause for 24, 48 hours so that the appropriate people can make the right decision to reassess this particular circumstance here, that we have one person outside a particular rule where so we are getting her. We can see, I don't know if you can see that there, but we have Claire waving right there, and we're going to get hello, Claire.
Hi.
So, okay, so we apologise here. We're trying to get this down here. So, Claire, I'll just ask if you may speak up a little bit. Firstly, I guess, under normal circumstances, you would say welcome to Perth, Western Australia, and it should be a joyous time that you're seeing your son and your granddaughter. But here we are. You find yourself tied up in just insane bureaucracy. Claire, how are you coping right now?
Not very well, to be honest with you. Like you said, I've been to Perth several times and always been very happy here and enjoyed everything it's got to offer. But today and yesterday, I feel as though I'm in a whole other world of bureaucracy and red tape and people who really just don't know what they're doing. They're telling you one thing one time, and then changing their minds and telling you something else. I came here in all good faith. I presented all the papers, all the documents that I needed to do, which were accepted, and now I've been told they're not acceptable. So, as you can imagine, I'm pretty torn up about the whole thing, and I really don't want to face this long haul flight back home, and I don't feel ready for it either physically or emotionally.
Claire, do you have you been able to access a doctor and speak to a doctor?
I have. There's a doctor who's been really useful in the hotel here. She's designated to the quarantine patients, but because I don't come under that, I come under Border Force security. She cannot offer any medical advice. It has to be done through a professional from Border Force security, but she has offered me verbal support, and Jane herself feels that this would be too much, doing another long haul flight within 24 hours of each other.
So, and Claire, I guess you find yourself, as I already mentioned on the live stream, that the Department of Home Affairs has changed the rules in particular. So the only, you have a digital passport application, you've completed that?
Yes.
And you've
everything that was required.
So when you came into the country, into Perth, Western Australia with Border Force yesterday, and I understand in the wee hours of the morning, up until 4 o'clock this morning, that you were still being, I guess, for the want of probably the correct word, interrogated by Border Force. What are they saying to you?
The aircraft landed at 5:15. By 10 past 6, once I tried to go through security, I was asked to wait to one side, and then initially spoken to, saying that they didn't feel that I had the correct paperwork, but they would send it on to Canberra to get it all checked. They then put me into an interview room, and I was there from 6:30 until 2:45 this morning. I was given another room where there was a bed, because if you can imagine, I hadn't then slept properly for 24 hours. I was interviewed 3 times, and that was all recorded. And they told me that my visa had been rescinded, and did I want to make any comment. My comment was basically that I'd come here in all good faith. I'd sent in everything that I was expected to be sent in. I tried not to, cause any duping to anybody. I respected WA's rules. I was happy to do the quarantining, which seemed to be the main issue. And then that moved from being the quarantining, when I said I was all happy to do that. It then moved to the threshold, not being the threshold of my illness. It wasn't in the threshold. So literally, I'm not ill enough to be in the threshold.
So now, Claire, without diving into the circumstances surrounding that, you've seen a doctor in the UK prior to departing, and you've explained the circumstance around the COVID vaccination.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously I've opted not to have the COVID vaccination because of this.
Because of your condition, we'll just say because of your medical condition. Now, and as I understand it, can you confirm that a doctor in the UK has made an assessment and granted you an exemption in the UK from the vaccine?
Yes, my naturopathic doctor has made this assessment and granted and given me exemption from it, which was then sent to the Western Australia authorities, and that initially was accepted.
Now, with so Border Force, in your discussions coming through there, so you were able to, you've been granted a visa. You made application for a good to go permit with the West Australian Police. Yep. So just tell us about that. Was there any?
Well, again, there was no issues with that. All of the relevant paperwork was uploaded and sent off to WA Police, and that came back with a good to go. They were fine for us coming in. which I believe they're still saying that, but it's above their heads because it's a national thing, Australian.
A federal.
I can't remember the state.
Okay.
That's it.
So to be fair, I guess that you've had acceptance from the West Australian Police. They've issued and approved a good to go, subject to 7 days quarantine, and then you're staying with your son Michael.
Yeah.
And so that's all okay. Now, the WA police are telling you that this is a federal issue. A federal issue, again, I'll just remind that Prime Minister Scott Morrison, Claire, you may not be aware of this, but the Prime Minister is actually here in Perth at the moment on the election campaign. And Prime Minister Scott Morrison has said all along that mandatory vaccination is not something that the federal government is enforcing. Yet this is seems the very condition that they're using to turn.
Yeah, away visitors.
So Claire, I just putting a what if question to.
Police told me yesterday
Yes.
that they're letting in about 70 unvaccinated visitors a week at the moment.
So they're essentially telling you that the numbers are capped.
Yes. She said approximately 70 a week. It's really tight.
Now, Claire, I just want to just backtrack a little bit here, that you've been planning to try and come out to see your granddaughter since November last year, and the biggest hurdle is the cost of the airfares.
Yeah. Basically, we were here for a birth 3 years ago, and then they were coming to England. We were going to come that first Christmas, and that never happened. And then we were going to come the second Christmas, and that never happened. So yeah, we've been planning to come here for 2 years now.
And obviously planning to come into Western Australia, probably the hardest state in Australia, because of Premier Mark McGowan's mandates that he's enforced. I guess that there does seem to be some cahoots with the state government and the federal government in this issue, although you're saying that the state police are approving this. But surely in terms of, have you been able to speak to a senior officer from the West Australian Police? Because it seems Border Support, once you arrive here, Border Force I should say, hand the matter over to the WA Police.
Yeah, I personally haven't spoken to anybody. Don't know whether Michael or Martin has, but my two sons have been on the case all day trying to speak to people, which I haven't been contacted, apart from people from the British Consulate and the GP that's based in here. I haven't been contacted by any authorities in Western Australia.
So, Claire, I just whether you can see there, it's kind of the circumstances of having to stand here and facing the camera and talking. Like, we can see you there. We can't quite make out your face details, but I have seen a picture of that there. I mean, it's. Words really are hard to describe the situation that we find a person, like yourself coming out here. What have the hotel staff told you? What's the movements from here?
Nothing. When I was taken from the airport last night, I was taken by 3 Securicor people who were all in full PPE. I was taken here. My passport, my purse, my money, my bank cards were all taken from me. And I was brought to this hotel like a criminal. And there were several people waiting at this hotel who all came out to the front. There must have been 7 or 8 men here waiting for me to come in, which you can imagine. That was pretty intimidating.
So, Claire, I can hear that you're upset, and I apologise for that. And I'm sure that you can see there is more people are turning up behind the camera. I'm just going to say there's probably 30 odd people here at the moment that have come down. You can see the support that you're getting, and there you go. Claire's waving to the people. That we see you, Claire. We see you, and we hope that the right people are hearing this stream. Again, I am going to ask, if you're at home watching this stream, please start sharing this stream. Start sharing the stream so that it raises issue. Claire, we will stay here until I guess the bus comes at 7 o'clock or thereabouts.
That's what I've been told, yeah.
If-
At 7 o'clock for me.
When did you last do a PCR or a RATS test?
On Saturday before I left the UK. I wouldn't have been allowed on the flight without it.
And you provided details of that negative result to the authorities?
Yes, I did.
Claire, what are you hoping? What do you want? Of course, I get, the objective is here. You've come out to see your granddaughter and spend time with your son. But for right now, would you be asking, or have you asked for this decision to be put on pause for 24 hours to allow you some more time to get through to the people that can reassess this particular circumstance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I left the airport yesterday, I mentioned to one of the airport workers, the border force lady, that I would find it really difficult to get back onto a long haul flight, and she said, well, you've got, in these situations of deportation, you've got a 72-hour window from your visa being taken away to leaving. And then today I got an email from Emirates to say they had booked me on a flight, which I'm assuming the border force initiated. I had no discussion with anybody about whether I felt okay to do that or whether I would prefer to wait another day. And another day would make all the difference in terms of maybe speaking to the right people, telling my story, telling how I feel, and people reading the paperwork. But because I've also been told by the British consulate lady, Jill Bandana, that she spoke to Border Force and they were told, they said they knew nothing about my condition, which is totally untrue because it was discussed at length yesterday. And I also spoke to a medical professional about the medication that I was taking. And she asked, was I okay to medicate myself? And I said yes.
So Claire, and I understand that when I spoke to Michael today, Michael was at the British Embassy here in Perth, and then I guess he reached out. We had a discussion, and we've mobilised as quickly as we could to get in to do this stream here to raise awareness. I guess so. You have had contact from the British Embassy directly.
From the British Embassy, yes. In Perth and also from London about an hour ago. And they've been in touch with Western Australia Health but about several hours ago, but have yet had no response.
Claire, when WA Health ring you, does it come up as a listed or an unlisted number?
WA Health have not been in touch with me directly. All they did was send an email to the reception in this hotel, and the receptionist relayed the message to me to say we've had an email from WA Health to say they're coming to pick you up at 7 o'clock.
Okay, so again, I'm just going to renew the call.
Directly.
I'm sorry, Claire, sorry.
I'm saying I've spoken to nobody directly at WA Health.
So nobody directly has engaged with you personally one-on-one?
No.
So again, I'm just, for the benefit of the live stream, Claire, I'm just going to renew this call. Please, if you're watching this stream at home, please share the stream, look up Holiday Inn and start ringing the reception. The more people that do that, somebody in this building has the contacts, they're getting the information to obviously pass on to Claire to tell her what's going on. So if the pressure is put on internally inside here, then the calls will go, they'll be escalated from there. So if you are able to get into the city, we don't know, we're working to 7 o'clock, that would be 10 minutes away.
2 minutes to 7.
2 minutes to 7. So we're seeing there is some movement inside with the security staff. We'll probably start moving that over. So Claire, at a time, I guess, Michael's taking deep breaths here. People behind the camera are taking deep breaths for you. When you get that knock on the door, what your emotions are going to be quite high there, Claire. What can people do? What can people do at that point?
Well, like you say, people story out there, I may well still get a hold on this to at least get some further conversations with the right people and the right information being given out, because like you said, Border Force are saying they knew nothing about my condition, and I feel as though that needs to be shared. But yeah, obviously when they come, it's going to be devastating, and to come downstairs and my two sons are standing there and I won't be able to hug them, it's going to be absolutely devastating.
So Claire, it's be brave. We're sending lots of strength and support here. I'm going to ask you the question: if you feel that you would be able to stay on the phone, and we can continue streaming so that we can get some comment from you, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel okay as long as they'll allow me to do that. They took my phone off me yesterday when I was being questioned, so I don't know whether they'll allow me to do that.
Okay, so that certainly in terms of that, if that's happening, Claire, I'm going to ask that you describe what is happening before you when they come and knock on your door, and you talk to as many people as you can that are watching this stream. It's hard, and I understand that, and you just get that message out. This cannot go unchecked, the checks and balances, and people need to understand the impact that we're dealing with a woman who's come out like yourself to spend time and see her granddaughter, 3 years old. Is she obviously at home, Michael?
Yeah, she was here for a couple of hours and then she had to go home. Yeah.
So Claire, would you've told them that you will quarantine for 7 days?
Absolutely. There was never ever an issue about.
I've done this earlier.
Okay, so that's so the call's just dropped out there. Michael will reconnect that call, and so that's what we're going to plan to do. So Claire is going to put on a brave face in certainly extraordinary circumstances that she's finding herself in. I thought there was a bus here coming. It's the cat bus. I mean, imagine that. Claire is looking out the window here. She's got some fresh air, funny enough. The window is actually open here, and hearing a bus and seeing a bus come down, that's actually what she's thinking. Is this my bus that I'm actually now going to be deported from Australia? So the call's going out for anybody that may share this stream, and do what you can to get a message through to Alex Hawkins. Alex Hawkes, I'm sorry, my apologies, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, because he is one person that can actually put a stop to this. At this stage, you're not asking, for the decision. You're not asking for. You're just asking for a review.
Absolutely, and also Scott Morrison is in town as well. He's here, and I've just had a phone call. I've had 3 phone calls whilst being on, just 1 before and 2 on here, by people in influential places, and this is actually being aware. So there's a lot of people who are aware and are around him right now at this present moment tonight. So I would go as far to say that he is aware of what's happening. So now I'm going to call out to you. I'm going to call out to Scott Morrison, and please do something, step in, intervene. You're here, you're on Perth grounds. This is a lady who just wants to come and see her family. She did everything correctly. She didn't try and hide anything. She didn't do anything untoward. She didn't do anything illegal. Her 2 sons, our families, and my daughter are waiting here for us. Please intervene. Please let her through and just end this nightmare.
So, Michael, how long have you called Perth home, or Australia home?
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done your bit. You're a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen of Australia.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I've had several businesses and companies, and I do a lot in the personal development and mental health field as well. So, seeing and hearing my mum like this, I understand where she's at in terms of her mental health.
I mean, no amount of empathy, I guess I can relate to the story. I'm sure many people can. Those in the background here that have turned up to, they've answered the question, they've seen the post, perhaps seen the stream. I understand, to be fair, mainstream, the closest we've got to mainstream, or you've got, is 6PR.
6PR, yeah. So I was brought on earlier on, which was fantastic. I was brought on straight into the call, and he gave me a lot of airtime, and I told them everything that has happened. They've also been coming back to me as well. There's a lady from there who's been incredible. Michelle, who keeps checking in, making sure what's happening. I'm getting phone calls from all different people, and I'm overwhelmed with the support. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody who has helped, everybody who's come here. But the job still isn't done yet. So please keep sharing this, please keep speaking to people, and let's get the people who can make these decisions and end it.
So the job's not done, as you've just heard Michael say. If you can make one phone call, the phone call is to the Holiday Inn. This should not go unchecked, and this needs to be documented and recorded, which is the reason why we've come in to do this live stream, to just see. We can't have the Prime Minister standing up saying that he's not enforcing mandatory vaccination when red tape bureaucracy is seeing somebody that complied with the system bar one day. If Claire had travelled on the 18th, yesterday, she most likely would not find herself in this particular situation because she has the medical proof. I just want to sort of say, Michael, we had a discussion as we were mobilising to come into town that it seemed that Border Force, and again, I'm going to call it as you told the story to me, Border Force in the wee hours of the morning coerced a declaration from your mum that the only condition she has is an allergy to cats?
Yeah, so I've been speaking to an incredible lady that my mum told you about. So I've been in the British consul today, the embassy, spent a lot of hours in there speaking to an incredible lady called Jill. She's been ever so helpful, but also her hands are tied as well because it's federal. I've been talking to her personally. My brother in the UK has been doing a lot over there. He's been speaking to her personally, and also my mum from her room as well. She's the only contact that she's had to speak to, which has really helped. But when I said, look, my concern is her health and well-being right now, being stuck in there after a long flight, it's very traumatic, very stressful. She said, as it is for me, although my hands are tied with it being federal, we need someone to intervene there. She said, but it's actually a health issue right now, health and well-being issue. So she called them, the Australian Border Force, and explained her concerns for that. And they actually said, well, we know nothing about any health conditions. And she said, well, surely you must know about the health conditions because this is what the whole thing is about, is her exemption. They declined and said, we know nothing about any health condition. And basically then they said the only thing we know that she did have, why she tried to get the exemption, was that she was allergic to cats. So it's out and out lies. They're going around in circles, they're passing the buck. To say something like that after she was interrogated and interviewed 3 different times on record. So she had all of this interview and she was in there a long time, over 7 hours, and then not taken there until 4 o'clock this morning. They knew everything about what the exemption was for. They knew exactly what her health condition was, and they also had physical evidence of everything she'd printed off of all the documents. They reckoned that they didn't know anything about that and said the reason it's not going to happen is because she tried to get in because she was allergic to cats, which is absolute rubbish.
So there you go, I guess, and I was about to take Claire through that and ask that she step that story out, but she did say that earlier. That's just an outright lie in terms of, yep, there is, and she has the documentation from the doctor in the UK.
And all the recorded interviews as well, to even prove that.
So that's the circumstance that we find. It's probably ticked over 7 o'clock now. Quite an eerie feeling, I guess, to describe is how I feel. I can't imagine, Michael, yourself and your mum. I just really can't. Words cannot describe that. Knowing that any moment now a bus is going to take down, pull up and take your mum back to the airport to send her back over red tape.
Yeah,
over red tape.
Yeah, she like I say, I think I said this earlier. She's telling them over and over that she doesn't feel well enough to get on this flight. She's asking to be assessed. From what they told me in the embassy today, is that the only way they can do this, because this is a federal place now. This is all federal circumstances. The only way that this can be done is if she's taken to a specific hospital that's actually trained in being able to do these assessments for people who've come in unvaccinated, where people are all in the suits, etc., etc. What they're saying, she's saying that is mandatory. They should have to do that with her condition and with the evidence that backs that as well. They should not be putting her on a flight without doing that. They're saying they haven't heard anything from WA Health, and WA Health is saying they haven't heard anything from the Australian Border Force. So it's just going back and forward. Yeah.
Circles and circles. It seems in a revolving door of an immigration injustice that we find here. Visas approved. WA Police have issued the good to go. Passed a negative test on Saturday. Happy to provide another test again, and that's the step. So we have got some movements here. We're now going to cross over the road here. There does seem to be a private vehicle that's come up here. G'day, how you going there? So we seem perhaps it's another plane that's particularly come in here from the airport. So it looks like a transfer from the airport there. Hello. Welcome to Perth. This is a transport from the airport. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So people going into hotel quarantine.
I'm not 100% sure what the quarantine status of these guys is. They're just coming off the boat.
Yeah, no problems. You are welcome to Perth, Western Australia, people. Yeah. So you're glad to be here. So you understand the circumstances of this particular hotel being a quarantine hotel? No?
Not sure the English is all that.
Not sure the English is that well. So we have some movement here. We've got a transport vehicle here that's brought some passengers out from the international airport. We're from the domestic. Okay, so not an international flight. Well, the van can't drive on the footpath, so I'm not on the road. So.
Have to actually move backwards where the trains are.
Just a few metres.
It's for your own safety. Could you please move back?
So, and what is the safety risk?
Sir, there is...
I'm just asking what is the risk to the safety right here?
I'm not here to argue. Could you please walk across...
And I'm not here to argue either. I'm just seeking clarification. Yeah, so what is the safety risk that I have that I can't...
Something happening. We have something going on. You can't do this right here.
Yeah, so what is the safety risk? What is the safety risk? I'm asking just what is the safety risk?
I'm not in obligation to tell you anything.
You're not... No, don't start pushing your hand on the microphone. I'm asking, I'm willing to comply. I'm simply asking, sure, but I've just been informed that it's a safety risk. What is the safety risk?
Let us do our job.
Sure, no worries. Then the part of the question of the job would be asking what is the safety risk? So you've just said that it's a safety risk to stand here on the footpath. Can you please explain what is the safety risk? What is the safety risk?
Safety risk. There's clearly no safety risk.
That's it. Don't touch the camera. Don't touch the camera. No, she doesn't have the camera. You're moving into her. What is the safety risk? Yeah, that's fine. And I'm simply asking you. So you have a duty of care to explain due diligence as to what is the safety concern.
That's my privacy, bro.
What is the safety concern?
You insulted me.
I didn't insult you.
Yes, you did.
You're photographing my badge.
You again, do not touch me, okay? Move on.
So it's quite simple. You have a duty of care to enforce safety. What is the risk? That's what they're asking. What is the risk?
Sorry guys, just move backwards.
So you're not prepared. You don't understand. Do you know what the risk is?
We're perfectly fine to stand here.
Okay, so you've seen what's happened here. So it seems that the tongues are tied. So can I just ask you this? Have you been mandated not to give an explanation, or is that your choice not to give the explanation? So what we have here is a transfer. Just stand there, mate. You can keep walking back, and in the explanation of not explaining what the risk is, then you are walking into me. Do you understand that? So, are you a licensed registered security guard? No. Are you a licensed registered security guard? So if you're not a licensed registered security guard, what authority do you have? What authority do you have to stand here? So I'm asking you, so why do you persist on placing your hands over me? I'm simply asking you questions. Why are you doing this? Are you a licensed? So we'll just come back around here into the camera, just back into this way. So we have a transport here. So we have overzealous, we don't exactly know what they are, overzealous, I guess, representatives from the hospital. They have security on there. They stated that it's a safety risk to stand where we were standing on the footpath, yet they won't explain this. And what's been happening behind the scenes, we have this particular gentleman right in the camera just here, who won't disclose if he's a safety guard, but he has been assaulting myself a number of times, as well as other people in the crowd. It's a simple question. If it's a safety risk, we're wanting to move back, what is the risk? That's all we're asking. What is the safety risk to my health for being on the footpath and the other people around here? So it seems that here, where the cone is okay, but here, inside the cone, that whatever the safety issue is okay for these people. It's not okay for anybody else. So what you're getting is the untold story here. It's a narrative. They can't even explain what the risk is because this particular issue has been politicised. So we'll see soon. We'll have a transfer coming down. So we're going to continue standing. We're going to bring you them putting Claire into the van and deporting her. It's certainly something that will be documented and captured for the world to see what is happening here outside the Holiday Inn in Perth, Western Australia.
Lucky, can you just inform the clause what levels they're going to?
So this gentleman here, he is doing his job, and that's fine. And I guess to remain voiceless, if you're able to communicate that it's a safety issue, it would be reasonable to have an explanation as to what is the issue. What is the safety concern? So I'm not sure whether there's a shortage of skills, that they haven't been informed of the information, but also it's not an untoward question. There's nothing there. Are you a registered security guard or not? That is a question that they just won't answer. So it seems, yep. So again there, so sorry. Is there still a safety concern just here at the moment? Sorry there, I'm just asking, is there still a safety concern right here at the moment? Okay, so you're not in an obligation to tell me if there is still a risk to my safety to be here on the footpath?
I told you that. You decided to stay here.
No, I'm asking you, is there still a concern? Is there still a concern to stand here?
Stand back, thank you.
I'm just asking you, but without the answer, I can't make an informed decision whether it's safe for me to be here or not.
I'm not obligated to tell you anything.
Okay, so if you're not obligated to tell me, then it seems that we don't have a safety issue at all being around this particular area here. So we'll come back around. I'm just going to grab the phone and just check. Rebecca, all good there? Yep. No worries. So it's a question here. It seems whatever the safety concern is delineated, and the risk assessment determines that this piece of string and this cone actually provides a control measure for whatever the safety issue is. So it seems, you just can't get an answer from here. There's obviously something going on. The fact that it's a hotel quarantine the Holiday Inn used for hotel quarantine is not something that they don't even want to acknowledge here. So I dare say that very soon it looks like we're going to see Claire coming down, who's about to be deported. So we'll just go back and get a comment from Michael and see. Yep. So we're able to get.
Yeah, I've just spoke to my mum. Yeah, she still haven't got her, which is positive.
We'll just come off the road. Being on the road is a safety issue, I guess.
Yeah, so I've just got off the phone to my mother, and she still hasn't been taken from the room, which is good because it's now 18 minutes past 7, which suggests that they are running behind. Whether that's just human error or whether that is actually something's happening behind the scenes, I don't know. I'd like to think the latter. But yeah, she's just in the room awaiting to see what's going to happen.
So, Michael, I guess, I get the confrontation there. You had a particular person who won't identify himself. I saw him pushing you back there. I guess that's not your issue.
No,
you're simply over there trying to see if you can get a last glimpse of your mum. And, in terms of how they're actually dealing with this whole situation, what do you think of that?
Oh, mate, from start to finish, I mean, diabolical. It's just power mad. I spoke to them earlier on in reception. I went in with some fresh fruits and some things to comfort her, and also some drawings from my daughter that she'd done this morning. And I asked if they could take them up to her, and one lady said yes. Started taking them off me, going through them. And then someone intervened and said, actually, no, they're not allowed to take them up. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but I believe you are. I've spoke to friends who have been in quarantine, and he said, well, that's the problem, because she's not officially in quarantine, and it's a federal situation. You're not allowed to send anything up. I said, well, what happens if I keep the food and just please send her that one picture from her granddaughter? And they said they wouldn't. Yeah, so I appreciate they're doing their role, and I appreciate everyone just keeps saying the same thing over and over through this whole crazy 2 years of I am just doing my job.
I might just get you to come back. We'll just get a little bit more light off the just here.
Yeah,
so
it just appears to be the same thing that's been said from the beginning of all of this pandemic, is that I'm just doing my job, and it just becomes very tiresome hearing that same statement over and over. And I just wish that people would check in with themselves, find out, and just get some humanity back within them. They are not robots. People just seem to be so disconnected and detached from their emotion, from compassion, from love, and from connection. And I just really, really ask that people who are...
We're just going to change this way.
I ask that people who are involved in these situations, again, from that gentleman over there who was very abrupt and rude and tried to throw my camera out my hand and was very forceful with you, is just I get that you're under order, I get that you're doing your role, but please just check into what's going on in people's lives and have some compassion.
I guess, the argument again would be, if you're talking about compassion, and even just common human decency, I mean, what is, this is perhaps comment below. This should be an explanation that the Minister for Foreign Affairs should explain. What is the risk of handing over a hand-drawn picture from a 3-year-old girl to her grandma?
Yeah, and this is what I've just said. It's the whole bureaucracy of the whole thing. It's power mad. It's control. It's my hands are tied. My hands are tied. People just need to come back to humanity. It's so simple, and there's no reasoning for that. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's massively gone out of hand. And I just, again, while you're on here, while I'm saying it again, please share this. Please, anyone you know, ring them, text them to get them to share this. This will get in front of someone. I truly believe this. If you jump on this and get this out there as much as you can.
So the time clock is definitely ticking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, and I'm trying not to state the obvious here, but you are facing the barrel of, who knows? Will compassion be exercised in time to press pause for 24 hours? That's all you're asking for. 24
hours. So this can be... You see, I've spoke to a lot of people who are quite influential here, but the problem is there's a lot of people who they need to speak to are over east, and because of the time of day and how things have gone, they're all tied up or can't get hold of them. So it's more likely that they're going to speak to them tomorrow morning. But as I say, this is an urgent matter. This is a grandmother and a mother who's going to be deported, and she's not well enough to be deported. She said that clearly, and she's been on record to say that. And this is what I'm saying again. I know it's a massive far-fetch, and I know it's a big ask, but Prime Minister Scott Morrison, if there's someone out there who can contact or around him or can message his page or do something and intervene, I'm asking you, please intervene and do some good while you're here in Perth, and be remembered for an incredible turnaround that you intervened and done something and showed some compassion.
And I guess further than that, Prime Minister Scott Morrison, we've mentioned this already, and we're just keeping the stream going just to see what developments happen. Because if they do bring Claire down to leave, then we will be getting, that there. It's going to be an emotional moment. I really can't. I don't know what to say in relation to that. I feel as though I need to make an apology for that, but I guess, not at Claire's expense. This needs to be, the awareness needs to be raised, immediately in Claire's case, and if not for her case, perhaps, for people, because it has far-reaching implications. Scott Morrison's in town for the federal election. Michael, you live in the northern suburbs.
I do, yeah.
Yep, around, I'm not giving too much away. I'll just simply say this. You live in the electorate of Moore. And the current member of Moore is the Liberal MP Ian Goodenough.
Ian Goodenough. So I actually contacted his office today, and I actually spoke to his lady on the office, and she was actually amazing. What she said is, because I'm just outside of that catchment area, but what I said is the guy who's the closest next one, I think Cunningham, was the next one, but he's actually retired, and there was no one in the office to be able to speak to me, and this was during normal daytime hours today. So I had told that to her, and I said, can Ian Goodenough help me? She said, unfortunately, I'm really sorry to hear the situation. It sounds terrible, but unfortunately, again, because it's outside of our catchment area, we're not able to get involved. So she was also sending emails and trying to get people to contact as well, but again, nothing sort of came back of that.
Well, I don't know what to make of that there, Michael. So you have a retiring member who couldn't be contacted, but you have a current Liberal sitting member who you could get through to his office, and for the sake of one little border, he didn't want to intervene. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know the exact words she said to me. I don't want to say something that wasn't untrue, but it was along the lines of, again, my hands are tied. It's out of that catchment area. It's the same thing I've heard all day from every person I've spoken to. No one wants to acknowledge this. No one wants to do anything about it. No one wants to own up to it. It's just being passed from person to person, from organisation to organisation. It's an absolute shambles, yeah.
So a lot of hands tied with no accountability. I guess, we're well and truly, 2.5 years in Perth, Western Australia, give or take a couple of months into the pandemic response, both from at a state level and a national level, and we still have issues like this.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing, given after everything that's been said. And also, I know Mark McGowan had spoken recently publicly about, I think it was 12 million he's going to invest into tourism, and speaking very proudly of it, of WA. And, it's again, like, back that up. You invest in 12 million of taxpayers' money. I think that was the figure, taxpayers' money, to do these incredible things and start getting the tourism going. And yet you've got a 64-year-old mother and grandmother here who's done everything, ticked every single box to get into the state and the country, and then allowed to board that flight from Manchester, UK, to then get here, excited to see her family as we were excited to see her, and then to be told, unfortunately, after a lot of interrogation and being treated like a criminal, that unfortunately you are going to be deported.
So look, rules are rules, and
I agree.
Claire, you understand that. Claire understands that. She hasn't tried to break the walls.
No, she hasn't, and this is the most frustrating thing for all of us in our family, and also everyone here, because she did do everything. She ticked all the boxes. She went above and beyond and went over everything. She had everything printed out, physical documents. There was no reasoning for that not to happen. And when she got here, they said that no, we're actually going to rescind your visa and then send for deportation.
So that, for a woman who's waited an awfully long time, and she's timed the condition of the flight, and I guess, and it's not unreasonable. Here's the question. I asked Michael this question earlier because I wanted to see, was there any skeletons in the closet?
Yeah.
You've been open and transparent, and hence the reason why we've made the effort to come down here and do what we can. Or don't know what it's doing, but we're trying to do something here to raise awareness. But one thing I asked you was, why, when your mum applied for the visa some time ago, did she not travel then and she waited until now?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few factors. One of the big factors was the flights, the wait on the flights, and there was only, when it all started opening, there was only business class, and unfortunately, financially, between us all, we couldn't afford to do that for her. And then we pushed it out, and then that was why we waited until this time to do it. So there was a lot of contributing factors. The main one, flights, accessibility, and also the cost of the flights as well.
So that's, I guess that's just generally life, and people plan a holiday, they have a budget for a holiday, and, certainly as much as many people, and including your mum, many people would love to travel to see loved ones that they haven't been able to. Cost does become a factor. And your mum was looking to stay here until
February next year. She's got a return flight booked for February next year. Yeah, so we had a hell of a lot planned. And it's hard to get my head around. Yeah, it's really hard to get my head around.
I guess I've had comment from, or over time, I've had a number of people very similar to yourself that have contacted around these sort of circumstances here. To give an idea, how difficult was it for her to get a flight, and how much are we talking? 2, 3, 4 times? It's just without saying the amount, but in terms of cost to travel, financially, the cost to book the airfare this time.
Yeah, I mean, considerably. Back in November, yeah, it was thousands and thousands, and at the time, if I remember correctly, there was only business class as well that you could only get, and although they were getting charged business class prices, they were also getting
put in cattle class.
Well, yeah, cattle class, yeah, us fellow cattle classes. So there was it was a huge difference in terms of cost, yeah.
So I know I was working with some people that came out. They were looking to come out and we're seeing, Claire's waving and Michael's waving back to his mum. I had one particular, I can speak firsthand. I know that the flights, they were charging $9,800 for a one-way ticket to come out from the UK to get back, and with a stopover at Singapore. And so which way did your mum come in?
She came in through Dubai, and that was absolutely fine. Went through there, had a stopover, and then came here. So the dramas were where her son, who's a citizen, has been here for 3 years. Daughter's a citizen, wife's almost citizen, and my brother lives here as well, her other son. So over 50% of her children live here as well. And she would come here very often. It was only because of the pandemic she hasn't been as often. And it's a shame that we come to this country and this is where the problems actually happened.
And I guess, one of the things the pandemic has done is there's many stories where people haven't been able to travel, family haven't been able to see each other. And that's not just on an international level, it's also on a local level, state v state. Those in Western Australia, as you would know, they can't go over and see, or haven't until recently been able to see family and friends for some time. Mark McGowan at his press conference, he stands up many times and says that he isn't able to go and see his parents that live on the East Coast. I guess due to his rules. It's I guess if you look at, say, just on a state level, we recently had Mark McGowan travel over to the East Coast for his defamation case with Clive Palmer.
That's right, yeah.
And the extraordinary steps that he went to by placing himself in quarantine when there was no requirements.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of makes a mockery of the rules that he's put in place when he does something like this?
I would say mockery is a massive understatement, yeah. I mean, the contradiction here, you've got a lady in there who's saying, I'll stay here for 7 days, I'll stay in this room for 7 days, I'll do more tests, I've already proven my test, I've done everything I need to be here. She's in a room, she's in a quarantine facility, she'll stay there for 7 days, she's already there, but they won't allow it. Now they want to take her, put her on a plane, escort her to the airport, put her on a plane and take her out. Now my question there is, you're going to put on her a plane now with what, 300 other people? Just putting the number out there, around 300 other people. Well, I'm sorry, if she's a risk to society, why if she's only been in there 24 hours, how is she then able to get on a flight if she's such a risk with 300 other people if she may have COVID? So the whole thing is a debacle. The contradiction is colossal. The word that you use is an understatement, and when you speak out loud, I think you've got to laugh, otherwise you cry, because none of it makes sense. None of it makes any sense whatsoever, and this is people's lives and livelihoods, and also health at risk as well.
And I guess, blood is thicker than water, and anybody would do anything for their family member, and you're no different. A son doing what he can to, ensure that he gets to see his mum, and more importantly, that your daughter gets to see.
That's number one,
that's number one.
Yeah. I can deal with that, and I'll do whatever I need to do to, go even longer. It's been 3 years, but I just want to be with my daughter. Yeah, her first grandchild. It'd be incredible. Yeah.
Michael, you can cope as a parent. I mean, I can't imagine the thoughts going through your head. How do you explain this to your daughter?
Yeah, well, we're being very careful in the words that we were saying. But yeah, she's not daft as well. She's a very wise 3-year-old. And she just said today, well, I just want to see my grandma. And that was down here. And she's waving. And she is, why can't I go and see her? Why can't I go see her? And trying to explain that is when the whole thing doesn't make any sense, that's when it becomes very difficult to explain that to a 3-year-old.
Mate, heartbreaking would be the way, that I would, it's the first word that comes to my mind. Again, I've said it before, I can't imagine what actually is going through you. No amount of empathy unless you're actually in this situation here. There's understanding, there's no doubt. There's, again, more people are turning up in the background here. We're seeing when it looked like the transfer bus. There's a couple of your mates.
More people, yeah.
Yeah. So that I just wonder if there's any comment, from people here. I did speak to one lady just as we were about to go live. I'm not sure where she is. She actually came down here. She heard you on 6PR, and she said that she found herself in a similar experience about 6 months ago.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. So that's Erin. Yeah. So they've come down as a family. So they also had a very eventful situation, let's say, and fortunately their situation got resolved. So she's also put me in contact with the people in Parliament who helped them as a family. So I've been in contact with their office, and then other people couldn't get hold of the main guys, but then on from there. But again, the people I've spoken to for them, people have just been incredibly great, incredibly understanding. Like, there's not one person I've spoke to who have said, "Oh well, actually I understand." It's everyone said this is disgusting, this is shocking, this shouldn't be happening. None of it makes sense, and this is people from officials, government officials. This is the people who I've been spending all afternoon with in the embassy. And even when I went in there, the small bit of sense that we had in there between us was that I am just doing my role, and I'm doing what I need to do, and I understand. She said I understand. So that's where we're going with these situations. Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether I'm reading the room correctly here, but I can see those with the high-vis vests and security on there. They are going through a process of donning, if you like, PPE, hand sanitizer. They now have face masks. They've got face masks over here. So to me, that's signifying that there is something about to happen. And I'll just keep an eye on that as it's occurring. Apologise for pointing out. I'm just going to check with Rebecca just momentarily. Still going okay on the stream there, Rebecca? Yep, thank you. And so here we are down at the Holiday Inn. I guess comments coming through. Any comments, Rebecca, that we can perhaps... I might just... So thanks for monitoring this here. So we're just saying, so I've just got the phone here at the moment. So we can see, currently live 632 people there. and I'm sure many more that have said the stream. So Michael, you can see the phone here, you can see the messages.
Yeah.
Right now, those at home, I don't know what people can say at home, but if you have a comment here to say to Michael, he needs the strength. He needs the strength.
So Sarah Downs, you said about calling an ambulance. My mum has cried her eyes out on the phone several times to these people on reception. They say it's out of our hands. It's to WA Health. When the WA Health, not through spoken to my mum because no one spoke to her, but through the embassy or the lady ring them for me, they're saying that their hands are tied. It's through the ABF, the Australian Border Force. So yeah, I mean, we also called the police. The embassy rang the police for us to report the health and well-being of my mother, which I thought was incredible that they've done that to help. We've also, several of us have rang police to report a lady who's been held, who isn't well, who doesn't feel well. I've asked her to intervene to come here. There's not been one police officer been here. One of the cases that someone did report the police, put them onto someone else, and then the third person that spoke to them put them onto the G2G and spoke to them, and they said, right, we're looking into this now. They actually said they've got 3 people who are looking into this case, but again, there's no one here. There's no one here, and we haven't spoken to anyone. There's no police officers come to intervene or see if she's okay or do anything in terms of our report that we've seen.
Look, the comments are coming through thick and fast. So Michael did pick up that one and he's given comment. Plenty of comments here talking about, the West Australians saying that they're ashamed to be a West Australian.
Yeah.
I guess because it comes back to, the focus on Australia in Perth, Western Australia, due to the heavy-handed approach by Premier Mark McGowan. But what we have here is a red tape issue. I can see, I'm just going to do a call out there, Leslie, that Leslie has been, a very early supporter of what we've been trying to do here at Freedom Media. She lost her brother. He was very early on in the stage vaccine injured. And he died as a result of GBS, of course, in the early stages. So, Leslie, I can see your comments there. Again, I know the story incredibly well. It not detracting from what we have here, that she would understand your pain. So just trying to pick up there. There's comments here coming through, that we have 40,000 people able to go to the football, and it's only just recently, that the requirements, level 2 requirements, have been dropped in relation to that. Yeah. So. Well, somebody's making a comment here that the comments are being blocked. It's hard to tell here, Stephen, in relation to that. They are coming through thick and fast, this end from what we can see live on the phone here. So again, we just ask in the meantime, if you can do anything at home, then if nothing else, so that this issue can just get a little bit more time. Time is what we need.
Time is what we need. Yeah.
Make a comment. Make a comment to the people here at the Holiday Inn. Give them a call. That's it's not being a public nuisance. It's actually talking about compassion. So that compassion, that we're seeing the numbers going up there, Michael. Those that are watching this, thank you very much for staying with the stream. I'm certainly not wanting to capitalise and exploit. That's not what it's about the heartache.
No, not at all. And like I say, and I can't reiterate enough, people have been so helpful. Officials have been really, really helpful. But unfortunately, everyone keeps saying the same thing. My hands are tied. My hands are tied. So someone whose hands aren't tied, like Scott Morrison, intervene. Please just do something. You surely, if you see this, if someone's speaking to you, this is not normal, this is not okay, this is people's livelihoods being affected here, and there's more people are coming now. There's such a big following here. We've got over 650 people now on this live. People care. There's people out there that care, and I just ask that he also taps into that caring part of him as well.
Brendan from Dubai watching from there. So as you say, absolutely disgusting. I just see a comment. I saw a comment go past there. Are you willing to disclose your mum's surname? Somebody's asking. They want to make a call for a welfare check.
Yeah, cool. So Claire Henderson without an I. So CLARE, Claire Henderson, HENDERSON. She's 64 years of age, and please do the welfare check, please. Please do whatever you need to do to get someone to listen.
Thank you, Stephen. I see that you're not the first person to say that your comments are being blocked. It doesn't surprise me, with the shit that happens on Facebook. There's not a lot we can do about that other than continue the live stream. I'm just going to bring up this here. I just want to... this is the best we can do under these circumstances here. So I'm just going to try and... This is Claire. This is a photo that Michael sent through earlier. In fact, it's the one that I posted as I was scrambling to come into town. This is the best view that we can get from you. So this is the reason why people are commenting. Well, sorry, Karen's doing her best there to get that captured on camera. To think, I guess, in this day and age that it comes down to compassion over a person is showing a photograph on a telephone, and behind this photo is a family with very raw feelings. So we can see that there. So there we go. Now I will say this photo here, this was a selfie. Your mum took this
from that window. Yeah, she took that from that window just up there. Yeah.
And I guess What do you see when you look at that? Yeah, it's I see, I can hear it, I can feel it with Michael. It's not crocodile tears. We're talking about a woman here who's been deeply distressed by the experience that she's had coming through border control. Interrogating is the word that I've used, and I'm going to stay with that, not once but 3 times.
Yeah, so she spoke to a...
sorry, mate. Sorry.
That's all right. One of the doctors that she did speak to, doctor, I believe it was, in there, that they'd organised, and basically they couldn't assess her because it was out of their hands. Their hands were tied. But what she did say, from what you're telling me, is this is not acceptable. This is from a doctor here, from a federal plant, and she actually said that you are being bullied. That was her words. You are being bullied. So yeah, when you're hearing that from officials as well, and every other official that we're speaking to is saying this is not on, this is not acceptable, this shouldn't be happening. Just why are we still stood here? Why have we not had a call to say this has been resolved? Why have we said, look, there's been a mistake, or we'll own this one, or just someone just stand up and put a name to this, put a front to it. Like, okay, it's okay to say, look, I've messed up or whatever, or even if you haven't messed up and you're adamant that you haven't messed up, look at it from this perspective. Look what's going on. She did everything she should have done and more, and we just want to be with my mum. And so please, yeah, just keep. I know we keep saying it, just keep sharing this, keep commenting, keeping this out to as many people as we can.
So your holiday in Perth, I just saw a couple of comments asking where that is. Hay Street, Perth. We're just down from the William Street and Hay Street intersection here. I'm just trying to see if that's... oh no, I thought it was some police making their way down, but it's not. It's somebody wearing a blue shirt that looks like that. So look, it's sad. I can see the comment here. One person is saying... they're watching this stream, they're sitting at home, they're crying for your mum as well, and that's and again, where is Dr. David Honey, the WA Liberal leader? This is he's certainly been very outspoken of late. Some people would say that he's been asleep at the wheel. The Liberal Party have been asleep at the wheel in Western Australia at the beginning of Mark McGowan's totalitarian, I guess, flip of the switch in Western Australia. There would be people at home that would be able to get in touch with Dr. David Honey. I know Libby Medham has taken a particular interest in a couple of cases that have occurred that she's doing. Raised a couple of issues, I guess, in Parliament to try and get some answers. But this is an issue here. If you really want to show that you're trying to support an Australian citizen, I mean, we won't mention the cricket, but there's always good competitive nature between England and Australia. But nonetheless, you call Perth home now.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I haven't been home in 4 years actually. I haven't seen my mum in 3 and I haven't been home in 4. Yeah.
So I'm just going to cover some comments here talking about mainstream media here. So have you contacted mainstream media today? Apart from 6PR, which, to be fair, for those that may have just joined, 6PR did give Michael a tremendous amount of time and opportunity to get this story out. So any other mainstream?
No, I haven't had any other mainstream, no.
Contact with them at all?
So I've been speaking to independent journalists. Look, there's a lot of politics behind this. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, and the independent people that I spoke to, they'd said, look, if on another case they would be contacting you because it's out there, there's a lot of people talking about it, they would be contacting you, but in this case it's what the independent journalists have said that have pulled away from the main ones. Without going into it too much, have said that if you did want to contact them yourself, just be ready for a huge backlash. She pre-warned me of cases she's worked on which wasn't quite for the narrative for the vaccination rollouts, and there was a lot of people who received a lot of abuse, their families and various other things as well. So that, I thought about that, and then I also then contacted and said, look, I don't care, I've got thick skin, whatever it takes, I don't care what people say. If we can get this in front of the right eyes, the right ears, and get someone who can just intervene and do something and help us, then I was willing to do that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get on there before that. I think it was before 6 o'clock before we could get on there, so we sort of missed that. We missed that window. So yeah, again, we find ourselves where time is against us. Yeah.
So again, apologies, I'm taking in what Michael's saying at the same time, just trying to watch the comments as they're coming through. Thank you again to the people. I see many people have said that they've posted this on channel 7, 9 and 10. Michael's just going to pick up a comment there that he's just seen through. I am going to just make a phone call and just see. So I'm just going to drop off on the comments. The stream's still going. Let me just see. No guarantees that.
I just also want to take this time just to say a big thank you for everybody. I'm overwhelmed really with the amount of support. People here, people on there, the messages, the comments I'm reading there is overwhelming as well. And thank you. Gives us hope.
So hope is something that you can't take away from any person. Michael has plenty of it with his brother. Your brother's in England. Perhaps it's time.
I've got a brother who's here tonight with his partner, and then I've got another brother who's in the UK he's just been through the night and all day yesterday when this first happened. He's seen him off at the airport, so he's absolutely gutted what's going on and very, very frustrated at this situation as well. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to make a telephone call to a contact here. Just 1 moment. G'day, Rod. It's Lindsay calling. G'day, Rod. It's Lindsay from Freedom Media. And look, just doing a live stream from Holiday Inn. I was just wanting to see if I could get you on the phone just to get a comment. This is a person that's done everything right to come into the country. Border Force are about to chuck her on a plane back to the UK. She's come out to see her children and deport her. Okay, so what I'm just going to ask. So that's the Holiday Inn there in the background. You want me to whack it back on the tripod? We'll just yes, no. We will be in a moment. Tim, are we able to try, Michael, getting Paul on the phone, your brother?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
So just getting an update there. I'll just give a bit of breathing space just to see.
Meantime, I'll get my brother.
So again, there's plenty of people. I just wonder whether we go around and just see those. Kids have come out here as well, to see. I mean, it's an interesting situation and interesting times that we find ourselves in at the moment, where parents have had to have conversations with their children that they just shouldn't have to have in terms of, talking about the times that we particularly find ourselves in. and it's hard enough to navigate as an adult without having to navigate something of this nature. I can only imagine Michael's 3-year-old daughter and what she would be doing to try and process and make sense of this. I'm just trying to see. It does look like there is some police up the road here, which is fine. There's it's either police or parking inspectors, one of the two. But maybe the West Australian Police can make another phone call. They've approved the good to go pass in this instance, so Claire hasn't done anything here to try and navigate around the system. The only hiccup that she's had is that in an interview after a long haul flight, when she was tired and weary, they've pulled her in and interrogating her. Claire did say that they gave her a room where she could sleep a little bit, but they woke her up 3 times from 5:30 yesterday afternoon to 4 o'clock in the morning. Here we go. Hello. Yes. You're good. So I'm just going to explain here. Just one moment. I'm just going to turn around. So Rod, we are live, and am I able to go on the phone, the speaker? Okay. I'm just going to bring up, while I'm navigating live streaming here, I have a person on the phone. We'll just see if we can get a comment from them. We're outside the Holiday Inn in Perth, Western Australia, where a 64-year-old grandmother flew into Australia yesterday. Having done everything right, she's been told by Border Force that they are going to deport her. 7 o'clock was the time that they were putting her on the bus. With the rule change effective yesterday, that she has a medical exemption preventing her from having the vaccine, and they've deemed that exemption issued by the UK doctor is not acceptable for her to stay in Western Australia. So oh, okay. Okay. Can I? So we are streaming at the minute. Can I get you on speaker?
Well, Section 25 and 30 of the Public Health Act 2016. Whoever's making that determination has to show their certificate, and they have to be authorised. They have to show the certificate. So has that happened?
Okay, so there are questions. So we've just got the family in the background here. So for the benefit of the live stream, there's been plenty of messages that we've seen come through asking that people contact GAP, the Great Australian Party. And right now you will hear the familiar voice of former federal Senator Rod Cullerton on the phone. Rod, I have the phone up to the mic. So I'll just ask, and I apologise for catching you on the hop. In the background here, I have Michael, the son of Claire, and Martin, the other son. G'day, Martin. This is the situation. So we have Claire, a 64-year-old grandmother, come out to see her granddaughter, who she hasn't seen. She's 3 years old. Hasn't seen in 3 years, just after she was born, and she's being told that she will be deported because they've come up with I guess, Rod, the situation is this. The police have issued, she applied for a visa, everything was okay. She's booked the ticket, everything was okay. She's taken a negative COVID test, everything's okay. A day before the rules changed, the police, WA police, have issued a good to go pass, yet they're saying federally that her paperwork isn't approved by Canberra.
Isn't that a change? So at one stage, Canberra was allowing the states to go rogue, and now the states are saying, they're allowing Canberra to override. Is that right?
So that's exactly a very, very succinct assessment of what's gone on here, Rod.
So then they're using the Biosecurity Act. That's what they must be doing, because if Canberra are now flexing a muscle there must be a Biosecurity Act. Now, as I understand it, like I said, you got me on the hop. It's been a long day and I've got to wrap my brain. As I understand it, if she hasn't been diagnosed with an infectious disease or labouring under an infectious disease, how may, and she's been cleared, why aren't they giving her a second opinion with an Australian doctor? I mean, they're both medical practitioners, aren't they?
So yes, and that question has come up, and I guess there has been some questions raised by Claire's sons here in terms of her seeking some medical assessment, even just to get an assessment for her fitness to fly, because Rod, she's done the long haul. She left on Sunday from the UK out to here. She arrived 5:30 yesterday afternoon. They interrogated would be the word that I'm going with, three times, with those interviews ending at 4 o'clock this morning, with the decision saying that Canberra need to cast their eyes over the paperwork. Before they've done that, they've given her the decision that she will be deported.
Okay, well that decision, as I understand it, would be in somewhat appealable. Any judgment or decision is appealable. Who's making that? Who made the decision out of Canberra?
The Australian Border Force.
So what I'm getting, Rod, in the background there is Michael, Claire's son, saying Australian Border Force. To get a name from people, there seems to be a lot of comments coming back that everybody's hands are tied. There's certainly even the WA police, surprisingly in Western Australia, seem to be on board. But I guess one thing I am going to say for the live stream here is that, to your credit, Rod, it's been a long day, as you've just said. Plenty of comments have come through asking to make contact. There you go. Thank you for the comments. I've done exactly that. I put a call through to Rod Cullerton, former federal senator, now running in this federal election for the Great Australia Party, the only person that's taken the time to respond to this. So thank you, Rod, for your time there. So we have Michael was able to get on 6PR earlier today, this afternoon. They did give him some time there. There is, you wouldn't happen to know how to get in touch with Alec Hawkes by any chance?
No, I don't, but why don't you do this? Why don't you write back to Canberra and say that you want a second opinion from the Commonwealth Border Force?
Well, I guess, yeah. So time is certainly not Claire's or her son's friend here, because she's been told of the decision. 7 o'clock is when they were about to put her on the bus to take her back out for a 10 o'clock flight tonight back to Dubai, then back to the UK. So the time for the emails, I guess, has ended there, Rod. Michael's been at the British Embassy all day, pretty much all day, trying to get some sense of this here. The common answer seems to be, we understand the situation, but our hands are tied.
Yeah, look, I'm just too far away, I guess, and it's right at 11th hour, but that's the only suggestion I can make is ask under what authority and can there be a second opinion from the Commonwealth Border Force. That's how I'd be going.
Yeah. So thank you, Rod. I appreciate appreciate the comment, and I guess credit does need to be given where credit is due. You made the comments. Those watching on the live stream, I've made the call. Rod Cullerton from the Great Australian Party has responded. The invitation's there. Dr. David Honey, the Liberal, state member. Set politics aside here. You've been campaigning or vocal against Mark McGowan. Come down here, come and join the people. Scott Morrison, if you're still in town, set politics aside or maintain your stance that you're not mandating against compulsory vaccination and stop this, grandma from being sent out the country. But Rod,
well, can I say, obviously, from the good work that we have been doing out of the political limitations and holding the WA police to account, who have now revoked their powers and gone back to Commonwealth. or federal police, it's good that they're starting to show a bit of respect to normal lay people, and I think that's fantastic. But this one is obviously an isolated case, because we're talking about a person who's come in. I don't know what the visa requirements are or whatever, but I would have thought if she's ticked every box, how may they send her home? So, but it's just a bit hard for me to do it at the 11th hour and right out near Kalgoorlie. So.
Oh, look, I think you've done more than enough, that in just, calling here. I've got, here we go, just...
I'm Martin Henderson. Thanks for your time tonight.
I'm certainly shy going out on the front line. If I was a lot closer, I'd be there, So.
So those, I did watch with interest the other day, Rod, down in Albany, and the particular, if you want to talk about red tape, you can jump onto Great Australia Party, watch the stream there, with a particular person from the city of Albany, Shire of Albany.
Well, I don't know. I don't think he
So, I'm trying not to laugh here, but, Rod has a motorhome. It's would be defined as a bus, and parked in an area designated for bus parking, yet you had a state Labor candidate who had blocked off public access footpath, yet they came and told Rod to move his bus, I guess.
Absolutely. When I had a right to park there, I was over the road having a cup of coffee, but what was really, that took me by surprise, I thought if you had a permit, once you're asked to produce that permit, you're supposed to carry it on you at all times. And that was just hearsay. Yes, Labor said, we've got a permit, but they didn't produce the permit. And but I have noticed that the major parties are getting the local councillors, or certainly the rangers, and sniffing off our call fleets, even on people's fences, that they've consented to have our call fleets on their own fences, claiming that the council owns the outside of the fence. So, the majors are finding it very difficult and very concerned if they start sniffing off our call fleets.
Well, it's a good way to crash a live stream there, Rod, is to set off a car alarm. So we're just going to move away a little bit. And just not much we can do with that. But
I'll wind it up. Good on you, Lindsay.
No problems at all. So there we go. Many thanks to former Senator, but currently campaigning for this federal election, Rod Cullerton.
Thank you.
So there we go. I'm just going to have a look and see a couple of other contacts, see if I can send out a message to a couple of other people to see if I can get them on the phone here. But thank you very much, for Rod. I have caught him on the hop here, but he did ring back, and he has offered some advice. So not exactly sure whose car this is, but it seems to be right in the position here. A good way to trash the stream is to go with the with the car alarm. I can hear myself think barely. I guess if the flight is scheduled for 10 o'clock, it is now. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Jai. Whether it is somebody doing that or not on purpose. But thank you, Anne, for letting us know that you can still hear. Ash, I can see you putting a call out there to Gerard Rennick. If you've got any means of being able to get him at this time of night, then certainly reach out. I will do what I can. Sarah's comment there, Dr. David Honey is useless. Look, I won't challenge any further on that statement. That's your opinion, I guess. But we can see a boot's popped open, so they're trying to press the, press the boot. So here we go. Let's. So it's taken you that long to realise that it was your car. So you So I guess a very interesting question here. We have the signage here that talks about this is a loading zone, and it's designated Monday to Friday as the loading zone for 30 minutes. I guess we've been here since 25 past 6, and this hotel worker, who's not loading and unloading a vehicle, has had his vehicle parked outside here. Contrary to the sign, we'll just get the sign here. If we want to talk about rules, I guess it can't be a case of one rule for me and another for thee. But I guess let's just look at the particular issue. The hotel staff, including that security guard, know why the people are over here at the footpath. His horn was going off, as you probably heard, for at least 3, 4, 5 minutes plus. Yet it took him a considerable amount of time to come out to respond. Okay, we've got an update here.
An update from Michael Fogel, the State COVID Commander and Inspector. He's just called me. Basically, they're deferring the flight. She won't be flying tonight, so she can relax.
Wow, so they're deferring the flight tonight. So the information has just come through. So just say that again. The State Commander from the West Australian Police.
Michael Fogel, State COVID Commander Inspector from WA Police. He's been on the phone and said she won't be flying tonight. She can relax and take a breath.
Wow, that's it. That's absolutely fantastic news.
The next flight's not until the 21st, and Border Force are going to review it tomorrow.
There we go. There we go. That's well done. That's absolutely fantastic news. So this is this is, I guess, it's not what I do, it's what you do. And those comments on board there. Thank you for those that have shared. Thank you for those that have put it on, mainstream media. Michael, can we get Claire on the phone?
Yeah.
Does she know the news?
I'm not sure if she does or not, no.
Okay, so yeah, we're not going to end the stream there. We can't let this go. You have to hear the, I guess...
I'm not sure if she's been told yet or not.
Okay.
Let's find out. Hello. Hi, ma'am. I've got you live on the Freedom Media WA again. We just want to know, have you... Oh, I've done it again.
Okay, so just a little technical issue here. We're going to get Claire back on the phone. And you can, I guess, those that have stayed at home, those that have shared the stream, those that have commented, you will also get to rejoice in the news.
Hi, ma'am.
Hiya, mate.
Hiya,
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
That's all right. I've got you live again on Freedom Media here. Have you received any calls to give you any latest information?
Only from Martin to let me know what's been said.
Yeah, so are you aware now that they're going to extend you until the 21st, until it goes above in front of other people now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Over the moon. I can't tell you, Michael, how much that means to me. That people are starting to listen to what's going on and what's happening.
So, Claire...
Thank you for doing this and putting this out there and letting people know what's happening.
So, Claire, we are still live streaming, and I apologise the way that we're doing this. So I've got the mic up against the phone. There is still 635 in its building, and comments are just going, a great rate of knots here. What would you like to say, Claire, having just been given that news that pause, the pause button has been pressed? What would you like to say to the people that have been watching this stream?
Well, just thank you so much for all your support. All I can say is, you people are obviously human, and that you're looking at this. How would it be if this was your mum? How would it be if that was your children? And I just can't thank you enough for your support. It might only be a couple of days respite at the moment, but hopefully something will start to make sense. And we'll get through all of this bureaucracy and politics.
So Claire, when I actually heard the news and it was read out, and I asked Michael if we can ring you, all the people here, I don't know if you heard the round of applause. It's not a cause for celebration as such, but there was. Did you hear the people down here?
I did. I heard it.
So we just say.
Into the window.
I'm just going to go and just see. Anybody here like to say anything to Claire? You've all been, here. It's I don't even know what time it is. 20 past. So here we go. Your name?
Jeff Wilcox. We love you. We love your son, so we're going to love you too. Welcome to Australia.
There we go. Welcome to Australia from Jeff. Anybody like to make a comment? Yeah, don't be shy. Come on there. A message for Claire.
Travis here. Thanks, and. Very, very happy that this has worked out well for you.
So Claire would in fact be saying thank you to yourself there for coming up here, and I know Mel here. So Mel, come down. I've seen any of the rallies. There's plenty of footage here. You would see Mel quite frequently down at the umbrella people here. Mel, we'll just probably I'll get you to step out here so Claire can also see you. Claire, you may need. She's waving back. What would you like to say? What do you think of that news?
Oh, that's just fantastic. I've just received a call from my friend Lisa Fenby to say that she knows Michael and can we get down here to offer some support. So we've just come down, my son and I, and
Thank you so much.
I would just wish you all the best. That's all,
Thank you.
I hope you can stay.
Every one of you. Yeah, every one of you. I thank you so much because this probably wouldn't have happened without you guys. And, it might only be a little group here, but all those other people online who've seen this, it's just made a massive difference. And I can't tell you what that means to me. To me and to my family.
Yeah, you take care, okay?
So Claire, you have an instant extended family down here as well. We're just going to see if we can get some comments. Those that don't, they're getting a little bit camera shy. You must want to say something to Claire. Yeah, here we go. You've got an adopted son.
Well, you are an adopted son. Michael's a very good friend of mine, so we come down with the family just to come and support, and we really hope that tomorrow gets the result, the review, and gets the result and gets you to stay in the country, because can't wait to meet you and have a beer with you.
Thank you so much.
All right then, darling.
Okay, and we've got a couple of adopted, if you like, some granddaughters, perhaps. I don't know. I sort of think, Claire, Michael shared with us the story earlier that your granddaughter, 3 years old, drew you a picture, and the hotel staff would not allow that picture for you to pin up in your room. So can you see Claire up there? What's your name?
Ella.
Ella. This is Ella. So she.
Hi, Ella.
Hi.
My Florence talks about you, Ella. My Florence knows you, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So you already know. Yeah. So what?
She knows Florence, Michael's daughter.
Okay, so you know Michael's daughter, yeah, and that's What do you think about what's actually going on just here now?
It's very sad.
Very, very sad. Do you think it's good news now that?
It's good news now that I'm happy that she gets to stay more time there in the hotel.
Oh, that's gorgeous. So wave up the top there to you, Claire.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Dan.
There we go. There's gorgeous down here. Big strapping bloke here. We'll just get you. I'm just going to get him to pop out here. So another adopted son just here, Claire.
Hello, Claire. It's Azza.
Hi, Azza.
Are you all right, mate?
Hi, Azza.
Mate, we'll get you out, mate. Don't worry. Anything I can do, I'll do. All right. You stay strong, all right? I love you. All right, mate. Stay strong, yeah. See ya.
Thank you.
So I guess that's the thing, staying strong, and that
100%. And Claire's got it. She'll stay strong. She's good to go.
That's good stuff. Anybody else that might want to say a message there? No, I'm seeing pop out here so Claire can see you. I've just got her on the don't be shy. She's not. He's, I'm sure. Here we go, Claire. So your name?
My name's Noel Sweeney. I'm a friend of Michael's. Hello, Claire. How are you doing? I'm delighted. You've got a couple of more days. We'll get to the bottom of it.
So is this the luck of the Irish here?
Oh, well, let's hope so. You must be wrecked, Claire. Yeah.
Absolutely drained. I've had about 3 hours sleep in the last 3 days, so
yes,
absolutely shattered. Yes.
Should get some rest tonight.
Yeah.
I wish you the best anyway, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All good, girl.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So there we go, Claire. So hopefully some word advice. Plenty of people here. I can see the thought bubbles. They don't want to quite get on camera. They're happy to say hi to you. They'll wave to you behind, but they don't want to get on camera. So I won't.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. So if you didn't hear that, so the lady just waving with 2 hands there, big hugs, air hugs. She said she doesn't know you, but she's here. So there we go. So absolute fantastic news here.
It is.
So
it's the best we could hope for at the moment.
I'm just gonna.
Time to be able to get the right information out there to people and get everything put straight that seems to have gone wrong somewhere along the line, and hopefully have a good outcome and be able to give Michael and Martin and Lauren and Florence and Kate all the hugs, and obviously everybody out there who's been here to support me. Thank you so much. And my son back in England and my husband as well, who've done everything they can today to make this happen. Thank you.
So Claire, we were actually about to ring Paul. When I got the I guess the privilege to read the notification that from quite a high level from the WA police that they've pressed pause on this. So I'm going to end this call unless can you get Paul on the phone at the same time? Okay.
Yeah.
So all I can say, Claire, in the meantime, is jump onto Freedom Media WA, hit like, and you'll be able to watch the rest of the live feed. We're going to get Paul on the phone now.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Okay, so just before we end the live stream, because this by no means is not over, but pause has been pressed, we're going to get Claire's other son, Paul, who's in the UK, on the telephone, and we'll just bring you a bit of the news. I'm not sure even if he would know.
No, I'm not sure.
Oh. Okay, and we've got Rod called. If you happen to be on the live stream, Rod, I am going to ring you back as soon as we get this. So I think the time delay there at the moment for Paul?
7 hours, so it'll be 1:20 in the afternoon for Paul.
And where is he? Where is that exactly?
He's in the northeast. He's in the northeast of England, yeah. A place called Redcar.
Redcar?
Yeah.
So we can't...
He's been on and off the phone all day, all through the hours, all through early hours of the night. And yesterday, he's been in touch with a lot of people as well. He's just been incredible. So between, us over here, him, you guys, from everything that you have done to take United, your team that you brought with you, I really do appreciate it. We might not even be where we are right now if it wasn't for you guys and everybody else. So it's been incredible.
No, look, I mean, thank you very much, Michael. We appreciate that, and I'm sure the team, they know. But at the end of the day, this is a story. I mean, you wouldn't be human, as you said. Humanity seems to have been lost of late, and it's certainly, anything. And this, sadly, is not an isolated circumstance. There's been many like this, at this very particular hotel, and some further up the road when they cut that down. But again, it comes back to the point that I raised earlier. 2.5 years into a pandemic response, and they still can't get a decision like this that has such a big impact. Right.
Yeah,
right.
And that's exactly where it's at. And when you look at, we were talking to the people last night from the Australian border force, and we was chatting with them, and we were also talking from the immigration as well, and they were basically saying that it's a crossover. It just sounds like, no one knows what they're doing. It sounds like they're looking to them and they're looking to them, while they're looking back at them. It needs a full overhaul. This needs to be looked at. If anything else comes from this, is to get the right people to sit down at this, look at what's actually being said and being done, and actually look into the decisions that's being made. Now, in terms of the good to go passes, I mean, they're coming in. People are checking them. They're saying they're okay, but then they're actually saying, well, actually, no, I'm sorry, you can't come into the country. None of this makes any sense. It's so contradictive. Something is happening on the back end for the people who are given the go ahead from the people who are saying there's something not right. No one knows what they're doing. It's absolute chaos. And again, I call on Mark McGowan, someone like yourself, mate, to intervene here and speak out about this. And I really would like you to speak out and make sure this does not happen to another family, because this has been horrific.
Well, I guess, this stream is not about Mark McGowan, and I think it's great that you're putting the call out there. You'd like to think if he was going to respond, he would have responded by now. He certainly hasn't responded with many other things that have occurred. But, family is at the core of everyone's life.
Yeah.
People, have different degrees of closeness amongst their family, and that's personal circumstances and dynamics. But I would say Mark McGowan, in terms of family, has quite a few issues of his own matter. He's just recently announced that he's travelling to Rome for what he proposes as a long lost, a well-earned holiday. I guess I would say the speculation that's mounting from Premier Mark McGowan with his affair with the State Recovery Officer and the previous Department of Education head, but the now WA Reform Commission Sharon O'Neill, that McGowan's dodging the country to dodge the questions around those activities. That's the rumour in the town. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. The rumour is that Mrs. McGowan is going around seeking to engage a very good family lawyer, because she has a lot to talk about with Premier Mark McGowan's extracurricular activities with Sharon O'Neill, the WA Reform Commissioner, because Mr. McGowan, it seems that you've been caught out having an affair and your wife is not too happy about it. But this stream is not about that, so do a little bit of digging on that as you will. I'm not saying anything here that, with your ear to the ground, that's what I'm hearing. But that may be Paul on there. I'm just going to see if I can get Rod Cullerton back on the phone. And I guess, when it comes to making a statement or revealing a particular source of that nature, then I make no apologies for that. So, enjoy your time in Rome, Premier McGowan.
Second message after the tone, and we'll send the message as a text.
Okay, so there we go. So at the Holiday Inn, Perth, Western Australia, thank you so much to everybody that has, I'm just going to jump back on so I can see the stream again, that has taken the time to comment. Those that have taken the time to call inside, then again, there was a response. It certainly pressed a few buttons, because what we had, so we've got, okay, here we go. So we've got Paul on the phone from the UK. G'day, Paul. G'day, mate. That's what we say here. How are you going? You've heard the news?
Yeah, Lindsay, mate's just give me the good news, and it's amazing what you can do with people working together, really. And fortunately for now, saner heads have prevailed, and some reasonable, compassionate people appear to have pulled the right levers and pulled the right strings, and we've got a reprieve. And I'm sure that the powers that be will see that this is an absolutely legitimate, claim here, a legitimate reason for Mum to be there, and she'll not have any further delay, or not too much longer of a delay, to go and see her granddaughter and her sons, which is all she wants to do after 3 long years.
Yeah, so that's so great news. I'm sure you missed. Perhaps you can jump on the stream, go back and watch. I'm only saying that not to get another subscriber from the UK, but I think you need to hear the support of the people here that have been here from the early days. Claire has many, and she's spoken to quite a few as well. Paul, sorry mate, you've moved down the pecking order on the Christmas card list because she's got some new adopted sons and daughters here in the crowd. That she's spoken to, and have you had an opportunity to talk to your mum yet?
Not yet. We've been on and off throughout the night and day, and yesterday, obviously, Lindsay. It's not surprising that she's got a few more adopted sons and daughters. She's known for that in the UK as we were growing up. Actually, everybody was around Mum's house. She was looking after them all, and that's the kind of woman she is. And it's so good to hear that there's so much support for her locally there as well, and she just arrived.
Yeah, that's so there. It's not over by any means, and that's not what we're suggesting. And I'm sure yourself and Claire would understand that. But pause has been pressed. The right people have got through. I certainly hope, under the dark of night, that once the people leave here, that that this is genuine. It is genuine news, because certainly there will be a lot to say if through the night they actually put Claire on another flight, I should say. I guess I say that not lightly, but the level of trust and the level of it's just not there with these incredibly powerful non-elected bureaucrats, that all of a sudden they say one thing and when the crowd dissipates that they do another. So I hope that's not the case. We certainly, g'day there people. So, just people walking through the CBD that have no idea what's actually going on at the moment, unaware that your mum was staring down the barrel of deportation over a bureaucratic bungle.
Yeah, and the sheer the unwillingness to admit. I think Mike mentioned it earlier in the live stream, to just say, look, we've made a mistake here. It happens. People, it's just human beings at the end of the day.
Yep.
But this is an astonishing price to pay to save somebody's ego or to save somebody's face. Just hold our hands up. Nobody's perfect. Obviously, there's been a mistake made here. Let's put it right. And that's all we're asking, and mostly and urgently, make sure Mum's in good health, because as we've heard, she hasn't been doing too well, and this three-day reprieve is going to at least give her time to get back, settle back down, to get her health back up to speed, and I'm sure that once the saner heads take a look at this, they'll see that she deserves to have a medical exemption. It's a legitimate medical exemption, and she can be let out and go and see her granddaughter, which she really wants to do.
Yeah, look, I think you've hit the nail right on the head there when you're talking about, a mistake has been made. It just seems that the default position is to wield the big stick. Rather than sitting back and actually taking, due diligence, due process, surely needs to be executed, not just for your mum. It's not just an issue that's isolated for her. She shouldn't be afforded any additional special care, and I'm not saying that. I say that with the greatest respect. Any person that finds themselves in your mum's position should be afforded due diligence and the right process to take place before the stick approach is actually, it's wielded.
Yeah, absolutely, and Australia is a liberal democracy. I hope and pray it still is. Like the UK and many other parts of the Commonwealth. And one of the things that makes places like Australia such a great place is that long history of fairness, of justice, of due process that's accessible, as you say, Lindsay, not just to some people that have got the right connections, but to everybody, regardless of who they are and how much they have or they don't have or where they're from. They get exactly the same treatment, and that's all we're asking for here: accountability, transparency, justice, fairness, and due process.
Yeah. Yep, no, here. Well said. I do challenge, though, I'm actually not too sure whether Australia could call itself a true democracy anymore. And I guess the people will speak very soon on that matter, which you may be aware, the federal election being called on the 21st of May. In a very short time, yeah. So, but for now, I guess it's a win. More importantly, for Claire, a win for the people. We will stay in touch, and we'll certainly be touching base. And we hope the next stream that we do is that common sense, if nothing else, common sense. But the bureaucratic machine has seen reason and actually allows your mum to stay. Yeah, that.
I'm sure sanity will prevail. I've got some confidence that that'll happen. I'm sure, and it's in no small part thanks to you, Lindsay, and the channel, and everybody that's been watching and commenting and supporting. It's been amazing.
Well, no, thank you. That, and I say that on behalf of the people that have commented on there. Many people have been commenting on mainstream media, and many people, the call's gone out to call the Holiday Inn. It's probably a little bit laughable, Paul. I'm not sure if you've been watching the stream, but one of the security guards who was activating his car alarm here. We had former Senator, Federal Senator Rod Cullerton from the Great Australia Party, who's campaigning again this election. Here we go. So we've got somebody just driving past in the street here. So she's just pulled up saying that she's so happy. We don't.
I've been bawling my eyes out watching this. I've been driving and working. I'm supposed to be back at the shop, but I'm so happy that I believe in fairness, and this should be. I'm so happy watching everybody on here. I shared it. I've been crying. I've been doing everything. I'm so happy. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Good luck. Talk to you soon.
There we go. So, Michael, tomorrow I've got a live stream that I need an extra reporter for. If you want a job, mate, the pay's shit, but there we go. Well done. So, yeah, as we were saying, so Paul's still on the phone there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you got that, Paul, but a member of the public has
driving
just
past in the car.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So, look, I won't keep you any longer. I know your day's getting on over there, and I am going to be signing off the stream. We will keep in touch, and hopefully, fingers crossed, your mum gets to stay, and let's hope. So when if she does 7 days, when would Claire...
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. Well, she checked in 4 a.m. this morning. She arrived here.
So
what was that? So that was into Tuesday, so it'll be a week. Yeah, so next Tuesday.
So we've just got to, sometimes the days just blur one into the other. So next Tuesday, not going to quite get there. I'd like to say, if we could get Claire down to speak at an Anzac Day parade, because we have, I guess Premier McGowan, and I'll say has weaponised the RSL to direct people to not come and pay their respects for Anzac Day at dawn service. They're holding a street parade here in Perth, the first time in 3 years, but the RSL has issued a notification telling people that it's unsafe to come in and not to come in unless you're participating in the street parade or you're a family member of a veteran that's participating in the street parade. I just cannot understand how we've got ourselves in a position. Paul, this comes back to when you say that Australia's a democracy, and I'm not too sure. But we will be here on Anzac Day. We will be live streaming what's happening. Claire may, hopefully, fingers crossed, still be in hotel quarantine. We'll come back to this very position and we'll get a comment from Claire on Anzac Day. So there we go, Paul. I'm going to sign off, and thanks for joining in on the stream.
Thanks, Lindsay.
No worries. So there we go. So again, thank you very much for all of those. There's still a number of people watching on the stream, and your comments are still coming back through. And taking the time to watch the stream, B to share it, make a comment. Perhaps if you've called to the Holiday Inn, and some hugs going around in the background here, and well deserved, I'm sure. And So I did put a bottle of water down somewhere, getting a little bit parched. But thank you so much. I guess this is a win for the people. I guess, and it just shows the power of people coming together for the greater cause, and that is, it's not a special cause, it's the right cause. It's the right cause for something of this nature, a person who hasn't tried to bend the rules and navigate around the rules. Claire has tried to, and I'm going to say, I was about to say she, because behind every person is a real live story, and those stories matter. So from now, I am going to sign off on the stream, and thank you again for those that have joined. We will be keeping in touch with Michael and bringing the developments in relation to this story. So from myself, thank you for Karen and also Rebecca for mobilising at a short notice to get in and help bring this stream out. So from myself, Claire, Michael, and I'm just there we go. That's so if you want to talk about get a life, and so when we're talking, and that's what that's what we're doing. We're trying to get Claire